Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Right, it's always painful when a former player scores against your club, especially if they celebrate in front of the fans like they've just won the X Factor. It can feel like someone's just spat all over your club's crest. If it's a goal that denies you a trophy, oh good lord, it can make you feel like drowning your transfer committee in the bath. I'm going to take a look at the last former player to score against each Premier League club and grade from 0 to 10 just how much that strike would have annoyed the fans. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Danny Welbeck, 4 to 10. Okay, this was a consolation goal on the last day of the season. Arsenal had just smacked Watford about in the first half, using their dignity as a dish towel to mop their foreheads. So conceding a goal to Danny Welbeck in the second half, it wasn't the end of the world, but still, it was on par with having your nose broken by a comatose patient. Because at Arsenal, Welbeck was seen as a crippled bag of bones, which should arguably be donated to a museum. Arsenal fans were beginning to question whether the man could tie his shoelaces without snapping his knee in half. So again, this goal didn't deny them any points, but still, conceding a goal to Welbeck in this condition, at the least, it was a bit embarrassing. Aston Villa, Tammy Abraham, 5 out of 10. Okay, this is a strange one. On one hand, Aston Villa fans turning up to Stamford Bridge last December to watch old boy Tammy Abraham score against them. If this was his idea of an early Christmas present for his former employers, it was like sneaking down their chimney and taking a dump in their stocking. And on one hand, what did they expect? The man was in red hot form, and they were sticking a defence with Ahmed El Mohammadi on the pitch. It's like breaking into Doug Ferguson's house and then wondering why you're now breathing through a tube. Yes, this was painful. Villa lost the game and lingered just a point above the drop zone, but Tammy was respectful, didn't really celebrate, and the away fans even applauded him. When you think about it, that's great sportsmanship. It's a bit like Justin Gaethje hugging Khabib after being choked half to death. Brighton, Ashley Barnes, 7 out of 10. Yeah, for Brighton fans this must have stung. Old boy Ashley Barnes netting a late penalty in a 3-1 away win for Burnley at the Amex back in February 2019, and meant the club had just taken 1 point for the last 6 games. I'd say the fans did not sleep well that night. Burnley, Danny Ings, 8 out of 10. Yeah, one of the most recent goals in the list. One of the few Premier League games this season which was about as exciting as an episode of The Chase. A boring 1-0 win for Southampton at Turf Moor, with Danny Ings banging home the only goal of the game after 5 minutes before celebrating like he just won the lottery. Sure, there were no Burnley fans in the stadium, but still, seeing Ings dance around their own ground, the place which gave him his Premier League break, while they remained stuffed on 0 points, oh, those fans probably spent that night googling his home address. This would have stung. Chelsea, Kevin De Bruyne, 5 out of 10. Yeah, when Kevin De Bruyne arrowed in a 55th minute leveler at Stamford Bridge in June, an absolute screamer of a free kick, sure, Chelsea fans probably felt like chucking a cat in milk at the TV, but it was Liverpool fans who instantly felt a little part of them die inside. Chelsea were in the hunt for top 4, and seeing a man of De Bruyne's class reminded them yet again just what they discarded back in 2013. I'd imagine it's the same as what the girls who swiped left on Lewis Capaldi in 2016 must be feeling right now, but inevitably, Chelsea ended up winning the game anyway, taking on the role of Robin Hood, gifting Liverpool the title that they stole from them in 2014. So this goal probably didn't hurt them that much. Crystal Palace, Glenn Murray, 8 out of 10. Well, this goal came in a 2-1 bitter Derby Day defeat for Crystal Palace at home to Brighton in March 2019. So how do you think the home crowd reacted to old boy Glenn Murray scoring after 19 minutes? This was a match where Anthony Knockaert had already got their blood boiling after just 60 seconds, with a tackle clearly taken from a Fight Club manual. So by the time Murray scored, oh yeah, Palace fans were probably getting sick out their nose. Everton, Romelu Lukaku, 9 out of 10. Yeah, you have to go all the way back to September 2017 to find the last former Evertonian to dead against the Toffees. This would have been raw. They'd essentially traded Romelu Lukaku for Wayne Rooney plus 75 million quid. Then Ronald Koeman's men visit Old Trafford just 6 weeks later, lose 4-0, and Lukaku inevitably scores. Now this is a guy who continuously refused to celebrate scoring against West Brom because of one measly 9-month loan spell nobody even remembers. By contrast, he spent 4 years at Goodison Park, had bags of cash rammed down his throat, and still ran off cupping his ear at the Everton fans. This was a game which left the Toffees stuffed in the relegation zone after 5 games, so Lukaku's celebration probably had them screaming with rage. Fulham, calling Woodrow, 8 out of 10. Yeah, let's go back to February of this year, and arguably Fulham's most embarrassing result in years. A win would have put Scott Parker's men joint second. Instead, they lose 3-0 home to bottom club Barnsley, a team who hadn't won any of their 5 previous games. And to make it worse, Collie Woodrow scores twice. You know, the guy who'd spent 8 years at Craven Cottage from the age of 16, and who'd only ever scored 8 goals in nearly 60 games for them. So seeing their former prodigal son burn them like this, it's a bit like Zinedine Zidane seeing his job security threatened by one of his best mate's kids. Christ, he was probably at Marcus Thuram's christening. I wouldn't be surprised if he was at the conception holding in the camera. Okay, that's a bit far, but you never know with French footballers. But don't worry, Fulham, at least you didn't have to eat a bucket of cheese because of this result. Leeds, Danny Graham, 8 out of 10. Yeah, this one would have probably stung as well. A win at Ewood Park in October 2018 would have put Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds top of the championship, but no, instead they sloppily lose 2-1 to Blackburn, with Danny Graham heading home after just 2 minutes. You know, the guy who utterly failed while unknown at least 12 years earlier. Considering the way he was ruthlessly rejected by this club in 2006, deemed no more effective in front of goal than an empty suitcase, Leeds fans will not have enjoyed his revenge. Leicester, Riyad Mahrez, 7 out of 10. I'm pretty sure Leicester fans fans have already forgotten this one, but lads, this was only 3 weeks ago. This will always be remembered as a famous 5-2 win for Leicester at the Etihad, but dig a little deeper and you'll find Mahrez opening the scoring with a stunning volley off his weak foot. In that instant, going 1-0 down after just 4 minutes, Leicester fans were probably bracing for an afternoon of hell, a potential 6 or 7-0 walloping, and the fact it was Mahrez, the guy who sulked his way to Manchester, making a mockery of that 5-year deal he'd signed in 2016, then yeah, I'm pretty sure Leicester fans would have probably spent the next 10 minutes coughing up blood. Liverpool Raheem Sterling 4-10. Okay lads, ordinarily Liverpool fans watching Raheem Sterling score against them in a 4-0 win, they'd be getting ready to jump into a pile of broken glass. Anything to numb the pain of seeing this former contract rebel utterly tear their defence to pieces. But this game was literally 6 days after them winning the league title. They'd achieved what Sterling had left them to do. They'd won their first ever Premier League. They could have lost this game 8-0. Sterling could have scored 2 hat-tricks and taken a dump in the centre circle, and I don't really think the Scousers would have cared. It would be like Tyson Fury allowing Deontay Wilder to beat him at Scrabble last Christmas. Considering he already has the belt that matters, I don't really think he'd be too bothered to lose that one. Oh, by the way lads, trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before Christmas, I know, it's a mental target, but if whoever's not subscribed just hits that button, lads, maybe we might get there. Anyway, let's get back into the video. Man City, David Brooks 2-10. Does David Brooks count? I'm going to say yes. This former Man City youth prodigy rocked up the Etihad with Bournemouth in May, and I suppose his 88th minute finish gave the Cherries some brief hope, having the deficit and another damaging 2-1 defeat. But do you think City fans cared? They were probably falling asleep in front of the telly, watching City utterly dominate possession without being too bothered about banging in any more goals. So Brooks scoring, it might have woken them up somewhat, but that's about it. If you were expecting City fans to cry themselves to sleep about seeing a clean sheet ruined at home to Bournemouth during a title race that was already over, no. Man United Wilfried Zaha 10/10. Lads, Manchester United fans probably watched Wilfried Zaha's 2 goals at Old Trafford last month and felt like chucking their TV out the window. Their blood pressure was probably reaching dangerously high levels, on par with John Goodman when he runs out of pizza. Good Christ, having spent the last hour searching for an equaliser against Crystal Palace at home, Jordan Ayew then misses a penalty for the visitors, only for the referee to allow Palace a second bite of the cherry because David De Gea had been marginally off his line. So watching Zaha, a walking reminder of the David Moyes era, stroll forward to score the penalty and then walk through the defence to seal the 3 points 10 minutes later, let's just say I'd be worried for the safety of Adam McCullough's cat after that. Christ above, Goldbridge looked like he was about to drown his entire family in a bath. Newcastle Dan Gosling 2/10. You don't find less significant or meaningful goals than this. It's July 1st. Bournemouth have essentially chucked their survival hopes in a bin. They're 4-0 down at home to Newcastle before Dan Gosling scrambles in a 90th minute consolation against his former club. Did Geordies care? This was arguably the best football they'd played since West Brom away in 2012. Now, not even their former injury-riddled bench warmer ruining Martin Dubravka's clean sheet could ruin their day. Sheffield United, Che Adams 8/10. Listen, last season was a stunning year for Sheffield United, but let's not pretend that it didn't end on a hideously poor note. Something that's bled into this season. A 3-1 away defeat to Southampton meant they lost 3 Premier League games in a row for the first time since Hot Fuzz was in the cinema. And considering it's since been on ITV about 3,000 times, that's a long time ago. What would have really stung was Che Adams, a former Blade who'd spent most of the season waddling about like a constipated duck. He suddenly morphed into Ronaldo to batter in 2 goals and swinging the game on its head. Considering how Sheffield United plucked this guy out of non-league obscurity, then yeah, this probably felt like a massive punch in the face. Southampton, Mikel Antonio 6/10. Okay, let's be honest, Mikel Antonio wasn't at Southampton for long. Just 1 season back in League 1 10 years ago, but he did score for them in the 2010 Football League Trophy final against Carlisle, which was on his 20th birthday, so he's definitely etched at least a fingernail into this club's history. Anyway, he also scored in a 3-1 win for West Ham over the Saints in February, before dancing about like an epileptic seal. I'd imagine Southampton fans were quite annoyed. Tottenham Gylfi Sigurdsson 1/10. The last time Tottenham conceded against a former player was just 2 days before Christmas in 2018, and I'm pretty sure they didn't care. This is a game where they absolutely ripped everything to pieces, sticking 6 past them at Goodison Park. Seeing them absolutely blow a supposed European challenger out of the water like that, it would have taken a brave and slightly insane person to then tip Mauricio Pochettino to be out of a job within a year. Anyway, yeah, Sigurdsson scored for Everton that day, but I'm pretty sure nobody, not even his wife, cared. For Tottenham fans, it was watching former Arsenal enemy Theo Walcott opening the scoring, which was probably about as enjoyable as being given a striptease by a heavy D, but by the time Sigurdsson scored, they were already 4-1 up. West Brom, Chris Willock 9/10. This would have been annoying, definitely. Chris Willock had spent the first 4 months of last season on loan at West Brom from Benfica and did not make a single appearance, so he instead joined Huddersfield on loan in January and then scores against the Baggies in a 2-1 win for the Terriers in mid-July, which honestly, it looked like it had ruined their automatic promotion bid with 1 game left to play. At the time, West Brom fans were probably getting ready to place a gypsy curse on the head of whoever let Willock go, but no, instead Brentford showed the mental resolve of a soggy Milky Bar, so it all turned out okay in the end. West Ham, Diami 8/10. Okay, this game was embarrassing for every West Ham fan involved. Not only had they allowed their forgotten man Henry Savet, a guy Newcastle fans forgot even existed, to bang in a free kick after 10 minutes. Now they had former player Diami putting the Magpies 2-1 ahead in the second half. This was a game 2 days before Christmas 2017. It was Newcastle's first win in 10 Premier League games. It was West Ham's second successive home defeat against a newly promoted team. Oh, and this was Diami's first goal of the season. West Ham fans would gladly have chucked David Moyes in a shredder there and then. Wolves, Leon Clark 7 out of 10. Going all the way back to September 2017 now, when Wolves lost 2-0 to Sheffield United, with Leon Clark scoring both goals. The guy had come through Wolves Academy, played over 80 games, scoring 15 goals before being sold in 2007. This would not have been nice for Wolves fans. Anyway, that's it. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.